Your husband was on drugs. According to the police report, you told them he had been up for 3 nights straight.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
he set the apartment on fire with you and your 3 children in it. So now we have 3 vulnerable children in your care, and you're trying to get Mr. Acosta out of custody to be with you and the children. Pardon?
It was an accident.
No, it was not. Let me read you the police report. All right, Norma, on Miss Sabrina Bergio, can I have a 30-day reset, please? Nobody needs to see that. And if you have to cough, I don't know what is happening with people in this day and age. I was taught in first grade, and actually I was taught at home, even though I started school at first grade and didn't go to kindergarten. I was taught that if you're going to cough, you cover your mouth. You don't cough loudly over people in public, spreading germs everywhere. That's one of the reasons why COVID, colds, flu spreads everywhere. Just throwing that out there. All right, the court is calling 2021 CR 11159, State of Texas versus Evelyn Acosta. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Michelle Hayden for the state.
For the defense?
Thomas Hiller for the defense.
And are you Mr. Acosta?
Yes, ma'am.
We're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objection from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Any objection from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Do you understand you're charged with arson of a habitation or place of assembly? That's a first-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses to this offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes.
Mr. Acosta, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter into this plea?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea bargain agreement to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be at a cap of 6 silent. There's a $1,500 fine. State remains silent on your application. There's to be TAP evaluation, a MIC evaluation, and no harmful or injurious contact with Tiffany, Tiffany Acosta, or the children you have with Tiffany Acosta. Did you understand that to be the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then to the offense as charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. However, the court will defer finding of guilt as you apply for deferred adjudication. Your sentencing date will be set for May 2nd. Ms. Reyes, I'll need a MIC evaluation and a TAP evaluation. Mr. Acosta, were you using drugs on this day?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do you have any prior mental health issues?
No, ma'am.
Well,
Your Honor,
yes.
if I may, I do
Yes.
have the wife, the victim in this case, Ms. Acosta, in the Zoom waiting room, and she was hoping she can be heard in support of her request for a personal bond, please.
And Judge, the state is not in agreement with the personal bond.
All right, Ms. Acosta, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, Ms. Acosta, you're
Yes,
not under oath. We're not on the record. I just have a few questions for you. What
Okay.
are the ages of your children?
I have a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 7-year-old.
All right, is Child Protective Services involved?
No, ma'am.
All right. I don't know why they're not involved. Are the children living with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge,
All
I
right,
think
so
oh, sorry,
Yes.
Your Honor. We'd requested some CPS records, and I think they were involved if they're not anymore.
all right. So, Ms. Acosta, this is something that I want you to understand.
Okay.
And I want you to listen to me very carefully. I understand that the defense attorney is going to be asking me for a PR bond. So your husband, your spouse, your significant other can be released.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
I read the police report and you were involved in the police report. So I know you know what happened. So basically what my understanding from reading the police report and my short conversation with your husband is your husband was on drugs. According to the police report, you told them he had been up for 3 nights straight.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
he set the apartment on fire with you and your 3 children in it. So at some point in our lives, we need to do what is best for our children. Your children, the 3-year-old, who's the youngest, cannot protect themselves from parents who are up 3 days straight using drugs and decide to set an apartment on fire. So we can have the hearing if people want to present evidence, but I'm not inclined to give him a PR bond and allow him out of jail without a bond. And if he were to get a bond, I'm going to order that he have no unsupervised contact with children. And the people who are going to be responsible for supervising him if he has contact with his children cannot be you. And the reason why it cannot be you, because you appear to be more concerned about him than the children. Because again, I have someone who before me, and Mr. Costa, you know this is you. I have someone before me who was up 3 nights straight, either because he's using drugs, which is probably it was meth, and he set the apartment on fire because he started being paranoid from using drugs. So what could have happened in that apartment, what could have happened is you could be dead and your 3 children could be dead because your husband decided to use meth or whatever drugs he's using that is keeping him up 3 nights straight.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't know who is or who is not looking after these 3 children, but someone has to. So it appears that I've been put in that position to do that. So I'm not granting a PR bond for him. And as a matter of fact, this will be added to his bond conditions if it's not already there. He is not to have unsupervised contact with minors.
Okay.
And there must be adult supervision. And according to my ruling, Tiffany Acosta cannot be the person who's the supervising adult.
Okay.
So that's where we are.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, Ms. Acosta, I know because I've done Child Protective Services cases before, and I'm sure Mr. Hilly knows because I know he's done Child Protective Services cases before. The children are with you, and if CPS is not involved right now, they're not involved because Mr. Costa is in custody.
Okay.
And you have probably promised CPS that Mr. Acosta is not going to be around the children. And so CPS is out of the children's lives. So now we have 3 vulnerable children in your care, and you're trying to get Mr. Acosta out of custody to be with you and the children when I'm sure CPS said he was not supposed to be around because he hasn't been doing a service plan while he was in jail. Mr. Costa, have you taken parenting classes at the jail?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Did you complete it?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
So I know that CPS wouldn't lift plans and say, the children are safe, Mr. Costa can be around them. I'm sure they're saying the children are safe because Mr. Costa is in custody. So you, Tiffany Costa, you're in charge of supervising the children.
I just want to say it was an accident, ma'am.
Pardon?
It was an accident.
No, it was not. Let me read you the police report.
Your Honor, me and my 3 kids were asleep at the time.
No, Mr. Costa, it was not an accident. He set the fire, and in the police report, it says he set the fire. He admits to setting the fire, because he thought you and the children were in danger. And the reason why he thought you and the children were in danger is because he hadn't slept for 3 nights because he was up doing drugs. It clearly states that in the police report. I spoke with O1, who stated that S1, which is the suspect, admitted to starting the fire. When asked by O1 why he started the fire, S1 stated that it was for the protection of his family. S1 also admitted to O1 he used the white colored lighter to start the fire, which S1 had in his possession. The white lighter was taken as evidence. And you know who ended up waking up the family? Your next child, not the 3-year-old. The other child said, hey, there's a fire going on here. He woke everyone up. I then interviewed O2. She stated that she and the kids were asleep when the fire started. One of her children was woken up by S1 yelling that there was a fire. The child then woke up O2 and said that S1 was yelling for her. So child wakes you up. O2 stated that S1 had been up for 3 days straight and has been paranoid about people out to get his family. I asked O2 if S1 does drugs. O2 stated that S1 only smoked weeds and has been clean for crystal meth for 3 weeks, but she is not 100% sure he is still using. So the fire was not an accident. He had been up 3 days from using drugs and he was paranoid.
Your Honor, there was people following me from my apartment to my work.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb, for real.
Okay, Ms. Acosta, let me ask you this. How is setting the apartment on fire with you and the children in it protecting you from people who are following you?
Your Honor, I did not know how the fire started because like I stated in the statement, me and my 3 kids were asleep in the back room.
All right, so anyway, I don't know why Child Protective Services closed this case. It appears that it really should be open, but I can only deal with what I can deal with before me. And the way I'm going to handle that is this. Mr. Acosta, and
Yes,
could I
ma'am.
have the clerks bring me a B page? Mr. Acosta, if you are released from custody,
Yes, ma'am.
you are not allowed to have, you're not allowed to have unsupervised contact with any minors.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
Miss Tiffany Acosta is not allowed to be the adult who's supervising things. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 1. Probation is going to go over what is expected of you. And Mr. Acosta, you need to start accepting responsibilities for your
Yes, ma'am.
action. And you're going to have to stop using drugs. The
Yes,
question
ma'am,
is
I
going to
am.
be, what's more important, drugs or your children? You
My
understand?
children. Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm sending you to breakout room number 1. Mr. Hilly, you can go to number 1.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, and after that, can I be excused, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
And Miss Acosta, you can visit your husband at the jail. I think they do that through Zoom.
Okay, can you send me the address or can Mr. Hilly send me the address?
I believe it's still 300 North Kamal.
Okay, I can go visit him.
Yes, but do me a favor, and this is just one of my side things. Don't take your children to visit him or visit anyone at the jail. Of course, if you want to do that, you can, but the jail is a very germy place, and young children whose immune system is not built up should not really be at the Bexar County Jail, but they're not my children, so you can do as you choose.
Yes, ma'am. And how long does he have to